Kevin, any trip that ends with Al Green and fresh caught catfish is a good trip. We ended up in England. We started in Scott with coffee, Keo for pie, and a really, really good sandwich. Let's just say we spent a good time east of Little Rock, and it was a great day, and I'm happy to share it with you. So welcome, everybody, to There's Something Here. Keo, Scott, England. Let's do it. Well, Kevin, this one's a little bit different. You took the reins on this one. You got this one together. You got the mayor of Keo to sit down with us. Great mayor, by the way. And so, why don't you take it away this time?
Yeah, this was kind of my show. I mean, I've done this trip before on my own, and I was really excited for you to partake in this. So I kind of set up the schedule. I thought it'd be a cool day. It's an easy day trip from Little Rock. 25-minute drive from Little Rock to Scott. Down Highway 165. And we started out at the Old River Coffee Company, which is really just kind of a large coffee hut right on the side of 165 there. I've been going there for a couple of years now. I'm friends with the owners, Brooke and Johnny Setzer, and they're really kind people. And like I've always told them, if I'm going down that stretch of road and it's during their hours of operation, I'm stopping. And so I wanted you to meet them, and we tried to go and do the drive-through, and she was like, no, you need to come on in inside. So that was kind of cool, and we got to meet them.
Well, this is the first point I want to make about this area in particular is that it's just right there. I mean, from Municipal League headquarters here in North Little Rock, we just go down Broadway, and we're pretty much there. And it's an easy drive, and you got great coffee right there on the side of the road, easy access, good parking. It was so easy.
And as we learned, I mean, I knew this, but you really learned it. Like with Old River Coffee Company, it's so much more than coffee. Brooke is a phenomenal baker, and we got to try some of her cookies. And I've been there where she makes these amazing pecan bars. And so it was nice to kind of go inside into the hut. And that was the first time I've really gotten to speak with Johnny a lot. He was there, and they both were super friendly with us, and they got to tell us the ins and outs of the place, a little bit of their history, some of their struggles. Last year they had a car veer off the side of Highway 165, and it hit them, and it pushed off their foundation, and and for a long time they were thinking about just closing up. Period. It was tough, but. The community adores them, and I can see why, and they got through it, and I think they're in a better place now.
Well, my wife knows Brooke, and I guess by extension Johnny to some degree. But you knew them, and I was there, and I wasn't just a wallflower. I'm going to get involved.
You're getting better with that.
Yeah, right. And so I'm sitting there, or standing there,
yeah.
And y'all are talking, and I'm trying to be engaging, and then off to my left, I see what looks to be baked cheese with a jalapeno on top.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Thank you for that reminder.
So it was a chipless nacho, which if you ever make nachos, which I'm sure everybody does, especially in the oven, you always ends up with those little scraps of cheese on the side, which is the best part. That's basically what he had done. And it was Johnny's creation.
Yeah.
And I was not ashamed. I was like, I want one. And he said, absolutely.
You looked at him like, you gave him that look like, you got to give me one.
Exactly.
I have to try it. And I think he was excited to let you try his creation. And I looked at it, I'm like, that's not really my thing. And then you were adamant about it, and I tried. I'm like, okay, that's my thing. Yeah,
that's cheese and jalapeno is my thing. It was a chipless nacho, and it was really, really good. And he said, listen, all it is it's cheese, and it's I forgot the seasoning he put on it, and a jalapeno and some onions. He diced up some onions too.
Yeah,
it was really, really good.
Nice little snack.
Yes,
and actually pairs well. I always like pairing heat with coffee. I think it brings out the flavors in coffee. So. We were both sucking. You were doing your latte. I was having a cold brew, and their cold brews are so good and they're strong. And I think we were pretty we were pretty amped up after.
Right.
Yeah, we were there about 20 minutes at least.
Talking to them, right?
Talking
It
to
was
them,
good.
learning the ins and outs. You know, the thing, I've been there several times. I've been in that hut several times. And, you know, when you add another person in there and you can get to it gives you a different perspective of things. And one of the areas that I was shocked that you pointed out was, you know, she's doing all this baking with the tiniest oven imaginable, and the creations that are coming out of that are really impressive.
I looked at what she had made because it was on the rack, and I'm looking around like, where is the oven? I see a fridge, I see this. And then in the corner it's not much bigger than an easy bake oven, truth be told.
Yeah, you're right.
And I looked at it and I thought, that's it, right? And she told us that was it. And it reminded me of my wife. She used to bake cakes in her old house, and she had this really little oven in the kitchen. And I was always amazed what she could do. And I also knew there were tricks to the oven. Like that oven is a special oven. Like you have to know. So to try to make a connection with Brooke, I said, you know, what's the trick to that oven? And she got what I was laying down. You helped.
Yeah.
And she said, well, it's hotter in the back left corner. And it's 15 degrees cooler than it really says on the the dial. So I liked having that sort of connection. But what also was really cool about that is I saw them interact with the customers. And one customer in particular was a husband who was ordering for his wife, and he forgot what the wife always gets. And Brooke says, because Johnny was waiting on the person, and Brooke says, "Oh, I know what Lindsay likes, and I'm going to make it." So it was just so nice to have that community atmosphere right there, just on the side of the road of 165.
Yeah, we got a great perspective being in there for a few minutes and seeing how they operate. And you're right, that small town vibe that we see so much in what we do. It's just nice to see it, man. You know, as much as I love Little Rock, those are the types of things you just can't get in Little Rock. We're a little too big for that. But yeah, knowing orders and saying hey to friends and family as they come by and they support you. You know, like I said, the coffee's great. Her baked goods are just as good. And, you know, she's pretty famous in those parts. She's always winning the Pecan Festival Pie Bake Off, which we'll get to a little more of that in a minute. But, yeah, I thought it was a great first stop. These are people I wanted to introduce you to, and so I was happy with how that all turned out.
That segment, by the way, is brought to you by Costco, because Costco was a big part of that trip, because we all commiserate, except you, because you don't go to Costco.
That may be changing soon.
But all their ingredients were from Costco, and the maple syrup. I thought, I know that maple syrup. I get it from Costco. And
God, Ben, this guy's there's something with John when he gets fixated on a product or a store. Like literally, I think Costco is his favorite hangout. He texts me all the time about Costco. He's like, "I'm at Costco right now. Where are you at?"
Yeah, you know, now I think about it, you have made a Costco reference on the pod before. It was like you were trying to relate with it was the mayor of McGee, Jeff Alyoung, and you were like, "Remember that time I was at Costco and you were at Costco?" I was like. So I filed that one away, but yeah, you're right. He's
if you talk to John for longer than 5 minutes, Costco's coming up.
Of course it is. Okay. Obviously. Well, I asked my wife for Valentine's Day. I said, "Do you want to go to a private club for dinner?"
Yeah,
to go to Costco. It's a private club.
Well, look at these nice shoes John's wearing right now. My first question was, "Get them at Costco?"
Yes, I did. Everything in Costco.
No, you got those in L.A. He went to L.A. to get his sneakers.
They have Costco's there. That's the only reason I went. Yeah, Costco's.
Well,
so Ben, have you gone to Costco?
I feel like I've been there because you've told me so much about it.
You gotta go.
Tell me about this.
Okay, listen, it's amazing.
Is this new upstart that you're telling me about?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's just Sam's Club. It's just on my side of town. Anyway, all right. So that was a great experience. We went to the place next door. Got onion rings there.
Yeah, we went to Scott Place and then we went to Scott Station Scott Station, and then we went to the Curve Market briefly. They were lacking on some products. I've been in that Curve Market before, where it was a little more vibrant. I don't know if it was we haven't really hit the peak season yet, but and it was also kind of cold and rainy that day. We were kind of navigating through that as well. But also, with Scott Station, I wanted you to try their famous onion rings, Fisher onion rings, an old school recipe that they inherited. And so that was fun that you got to try those onion rings. You know, you can't go wrong with onion rings, and those are some of the very best you'll find in this whole area.
Yeah, they're the best I've had, at least until Costco makes them. Okay, Ben, onion rings. Okay. Are you an onion rings guy or no?
I like onion rings.
That wasn't strong.
It's
I like
tepid.
them, but I always, I think I like them when they're real thin and crispy. Then when you get the real big fat one, that's a lot of onion, and that's one I run into a lot. And so it kind of turns me. It needs to be a smaller onion ring.
This was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
These I will say my favorite onion rings in the town are Lazy Pete's over kind of closer where you live, but those kind of lean a little fatter too. But I just love onion rings.
I think I just haven't had a great onion ring. That's what I need.
Well, these are good. Yeah. I would definitely recommend. Seriously, they're really good out there. And so from Scott, we went to Keogh, and we met the mayor of Keogh, who I've met before, but in passing, and I was really just floored by her.
Well, I was excited about setting this all up because, if you follow this podcast, you know that I'm the food guy and John is the city guy and he's the mayor guy and he's setting up the itinerary. Well, this was all on me because I've had some history with Mayor White and through the Pie Festival or the Pecan Festival. And so I was excited about lining all this up. And so we met at Charlotte's with the mayor in, our smallest town that we've ever covered, like where we've ever met with a mayor. I think if you look at the census, I think maybe 90 people it shows that live in Keogh. So that was pretty interesting and exciting for me. And she was there waiting for us, kind of in the back, had her table. And it was such a unique perspective. Like I said, we've met with the mayor from cities as big as Fort Smith and as small as Keogh and everywhere in between. And to see the different roles they take and the responsibilities, especially as you get smaller and smaller, how so much is on them. And that's really what I took away from that meeting.
Yeah, I liked her because for a lot of reasons. And her energy is, I love seeing the energy of mayors. And she described herself pretty early on as an everything mayor. And it wasn't braggadocious. It was just, that's who I am. I am the water operator, which for those listening, that's a big deal for a city to have a water operator. And they're not easy to come by, which means you're the person that fixes the water, fixes the sewer pipes. And she actually told a little story about how people would drive by and see her in the ditch in her overalls fixing the pipe. And sure enough, the owner of Charlotte's come by and says, "Oh, I saw you in the ditch the other day fixing the pipe."
I mean, that's what we're talking about. They do everything. But it was funny because we were driving around the streets of Keogh. There's like 3 streets before the meeting with her. We had a few minutes to kill. And I basically told John Ben, I was like, please don't lead with wastewater. Don't bore me out of my mind with wastewater. And what does the mayor lead with? Wastewater. I mean, you should have seen these two geeking out. I mean, I was just picking on pie at that point. I was just like, all right, let's
goes Costco.
I actually cut y'all off.
You did cut us off, right?
I'm like, listen, I don't mean to be rude, but we cannot have 30 minutes talking about wastewater on a podcast. Right. No one's gonna watch or listen.
Well, we can't talk about Costco like Ben mentioned a second ago. So let's go back to Costco. Their water operations are amazing. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. But yeah, it was great. And Ben, you've experienced this with mayors and city officials, and the ones that really dive, and really most of them, if not all of them, dive in. But to see her and her energy and her, not just energy for, we're doing the Pecan Festival and it's going to be great. It was, I had to go fix a sewer pipe the other day. That's what I do. And Ben, I mean, I know you love that sort of stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, it takes those kind of mayors. They're not doing it for the money, especially when you get to that small town. If you're talking a couple hundred people or lower, you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because you love your community, and there's no one else that's going to do it. And so a lot of these mayors that get into this are just real go-getters. They want to make their town succeed, and they're like the ultimate super fan of their town. And that's what's really fun to watch is them make things happen when nothing would have happened if they hadn't have been there.
Man, well said. Yeah.
And this is why I like to geek out on it, because I'm sitting in Charlotte's enjoying amazing chocolate pie and a great cherry pie. Ba-ting! That's the picture that we're going to pull up from the cherry pie. One of my greatest.
You got to warn me, man. I was almost
Ben's talking too much. He's
Here we go. Ready? All right. Do it again.
Ba-ting!
There it is.
I'm proud of this picture, by the way.
That's your best food pick to date.
That was a great pie.
Yeah.
And the chocolate pie was great.
You were adamant about having a piece of the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she was adamant about getting me one.
Yeah.
But all this, the pie, the baking of the pie, the sitting down, the eating it, the water that we drank, all of it is dependent upon that infrastructure of a city. And that's why, no matter what we talk about, and you make this point a lot, like, John, you're going to talk about cities and we're talking about food too much. All the food happens because of water and wastewater or electricity or gas or the infrastructure. And so I geek out on it, but it's because she understood that. I know you do too, and Ben does, and everybody that's listening. But that's what I love about it, is that the pie does not get made without the water. Yeah. And it was great to feel that enthusiasm.
You're absolutely right, and you've got me thinking about it more and more. It's just something I never would have thought about before we started doing this. But, I look at this mayor and this town, and I start geeking out because she is really embracing food. And it reminded us of what we saw in Leslie and how they've embraced food to bring people into their town. The mayor... Mayor White works at Charlotte's. I didn't know that before.
Oh, that's right.
Like, she works there, and I didn't know that. She's a nurse. She works at Charlotte's. She gets in ditches. She does everything. I mean, there's just no stopping. It's genuine. I just really love it. But, towards the end of our sit down, the thing that really impressed me, is how much she is embracing food. She knows that Charlotte's is such an iconic place. It's probably the most famous dessert spot in all of the state. She has worked her tail off to bring this pecan festival, this Arkansas Pecan Festival to Keogh. I think it's first Saturday of December. I've helped out the last couple of them where I've emceed. It's really well done. It's one of these festivals that gets a little better each year, which is great. So she's on board with that. She announced to us in our meeting, one of my favorite food trucks, Becca's SoCal, is opening in the Quick Mart that is right across the street from Charlotte's. If you're listening to this, we've all probably passed it a million times. And they're going in there this summer. And again, that's like one of my favorite food trucks. That is, you're going to have two legitimate spots to dine at in Charlotte's. And to me, that's exciting. Not only because we always think about it in terms of like coming from Little Rock, but one of the things that Brooke, going back to Old River, really kind of opened our eyes is how many people are coming from Stuttgart.
Yes.
And that's a huge crowd, and that will help fuel their business. And I'm so excited about what Keogh is doing and how they're embracing it. I imagine we're going to start seeing some Airbnbs. Again, 30 minutes from Little Rock. It's just so convenient.
Yeah, I know. I don't think about Stuttgart a whole lot, and we didn't go to Stuttgart, but when you think about it, it's just right. Go through England and you're almost to Stuttgart already. And so the people coming from Stuttgart to Little Rock, it's a great little spot in the road. And I was really, the logistics of it or the placement of it was really cool. And it's not that far for any of us, and to get a good cup of coffee and a great pie.
Yeah.
By the way, Ben, I don't know if you knew this, but they have the governor's pie. Apparently Governor Sanders likes their, I want to say pecan caramel cake. I forgot what it was exactly. But she ordered it special. The governor ordered it special for her inauguration dinner. And they were very proud of that. But then, to bring it full circle to the city, the mayor has a salad. There's the mayor's salad that she has on the menu. And back to your point, she embraces food and she embraces her town. And just to see that synergy right there in front of us is really great.
And we were having such a good conversation with her. And then the new owner of Charlotte's, they changed ownership in the last year. Kisa walked in and walked up to us and started talking. That was great for me because I'd never met her. And, Charlotte's is near and dear to my heart. I've been going there for about as long as I've been living here, almost 14, 15 years. And they've changed ownerships about 3 times during that span, and I've always enjoyed the owners. Megan, before Kisa, was wonderful. And it was just nice to be able to talk with her, kind of see her vision of how she wants to make a few tweaks, but she understands the history of the place, and you can't change too much with that. But I really was impressed with her passion and enthusiasm. It was just kind of the running theme throughout the whole afternoon is just like, man, there's some good things happening here. There's something here.
But Ben, have you gone to Charlotte's for their pie?
I have not been to Keogh at all. So I need to go. I've talked to Mayor White for different stories and things. She's a delight to talk to, but I have not made the trip down to Keogh. I need to.
Well, Rex Nelson had an article in the paper, or a letter in the paper, whatever it's called, op-ed, I guess, in the paper about this area. And he said the Plantation Museum, which I think I took a picture of in Scott, actually. And the Plantation Museum was really, really neat. And then the Plum Bayou Mounds, which is the old Toltec mounds. And the point I'm making is that we say go out there for coffee and pie, and you should. But on the way, you get to really live a lot of Arkansas history because it is the beginning of the plantation. I mean, from there back, I mean, they're huge swaths of farmland, and I'm sure rice and cotton and soybeans and whatever it was grown. And then, of course, the pecan grove, which we took a picture in front of.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really beautiful picture of pecan grove.
With Kevin and I in it. Ding.
I do like this one. This is a great shot.
good.
Look at these two.
See, and I messed it up, too.
John looks shy.
Yeah. Stop it.
Just a couple of guys being dudes.
Yeah, it was kind of raining on us, too.
It was raining.
Yeah. And he set the camera up. I mean, that was like technologically savvy, John, right there.
I brought up, and so, but then I timed it wrong, so I missed the mark. And I was like, oh, we're done. But that's the pecan grove behind us.
That picture does kind of sum you up, though, honestly.
It really does. It really does. Now, I want to have a hot food take here real quick. I want to throw something out there. I didn't want to say it in front of the owner of Charlotte's, and this is not a bad thing at all, but did you take a picture of the chocolate pie as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, can you show the chocolate pie picture?
I may not have a chocolate pie.
You better not
picture.
say one negative thing about that chocolate pie.
Oh, Lord, no.
Okay.
No. No, quite the opposite.
Because I will kick you off your own show.
No, that... This is your episode.
Yeah.
No, that chocolate pie with the meringue was phenomenal. But here's where I'm going to, if I can pull it up real quick. But we had the chocolate pie and then we had the cherry pie.
Yeah.
We had the chocolate pie first and we didn't eat all of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm eating the cherry pie. My favorite cake is a Black Forest cake, which is chocolate and cherries. And so I started using the cherry pie filling and then getting some of the chocolate pie and ate that together. And man, that was good. I'm just saying.
I didn't even notice you doing that.
I did it. Like, you were talking to the mayor. I was like, y'all keep on going.
It's kind of brilliant. I got to give you some credit.
It was great.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that or should be allowed to do that.
That's why I didn't want to say it in front of her. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
It didn't make either.
I think you were pushing the envelope there.
It didn't make it better. Don't get me wrong, because they were both great on their own. But I liked bringing the two together.
Well, I'm really glad you enjoyed the pies there. You know, again, that's what they're famous for. They've got kind of a slogan. I've written about them many times through the years. Like, it really is a place when you sit down, you tell them what you want for dessert, because the risk of running out, and especially if you're making the drive, you don't want to do that and drive all that way, and then they're out of your favorite pie. I don't know if you remember, but when we were walking in towards the back to meet the mayor, I told you to kind of stick your head into that one room, and that's where they keep all the pies. And so you can kind of keep an eye on how it's going. And they do great cakes too. So, and they also do great sandwiches. We did the Keogh Classic. It's like kind of this really cheese encrusted grilled cheese with turkey and tomatoes and
onions.
Yeah.
The onions. We're switching roles here.
Yeah.
The onions. I'm not a huge. I like onions fine. They never bother me. But I've never really had any. I don't have things a lot that are like really heavy onion that I like. Mm-hmm. But the way, especially the last bites, where the avocado was gone, everything was gone. It was just kind of the mayonnaise and the Parmesan crusted bread and the onions. And man, that mixed so well together. Such a great onion flavor.
And I think, I could be wrong, but wasn't one of the owner's new things, like there was a new like dipping sauce maybe? I could be wrong.
There was a dipping
like
sauce too.
Kind of a ranch type thing. So yeah, Charlotte seems to be in really good hands. They're starting a dinner service, I believe. I think their first or second one was that Saturday. We were there. They're starting out with Saturday. I think Saturday nights is they're doing dinner, which, again, I think that's a great change. I think you're going to need some type of dinner service there to really inspire people like from Little Rock to come out to Keogh. But I really like what's going on. If I have not communicated that enough, and Ben, you need to get your butt out there and have the best piece of pie. If you got a lot of people will swear by their caramel pie. Mm-hmm. I like it. Caramel pie in general is not really the top of my list, but if you like that sort of thing, people swear by theirs. But if you got to try one right off the bat, I think the coconut pie is great. The chocolate pie is great.
Cherry pie.
But we're approaching strawberry season, and you'll be hard pressed to find a better piece of strawberry pie. So I'm gonna kind of guilt you into.
Okay, it's on the list. I gotta make it.
One more thing. What was their tagline?
Where dessert comes first.
Where dessert comes first.
dessert
And the new
comes
owner had
first.
come up with that.
I loved it.
Oh,
I
so
love a good
good.
tagline. Love it.
Man,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Now, just one more thing, just about Keo, and I wrote this down that her being the mayor, of ideas on leaning more into pecans and the pecan pie championship, state pecan pie championship, working with cyclists to bring them in, squirrel calling at one point because squirrels like pecans, and just that amount of ideas. But again, it wasn't just this amount of like cool ideas. It was that, and oh, by the way, I'm in the ditch tomorrow fixing a sewer pipe. So she was great,
and she came prepared. She had
Yeah,
notes,
she did.
And we got off subject a little bit, and I was like, all right, we got to go to England. And she's like, whoa, I got to tell you what I was thinking first. And I just was, I mean, I've always been impressed with Mayor White, but to be able to finally sit down with her for, we were there for almost an hour probably.
Yeah.
And to really get to know her a little better, her makeup, what she's about, it was very inspiring.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got to do it. It's one of the benefits we get from doing this podcast, and I do kind of feel like our roles have switched a little bit this episode, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm talking about onions and cherry pie mixed with chocolate pie. I actually asked Zara, by the way, my wife, when I got back, I said, "Hey, can you make a cherry pie with chocolate filling?"
I
as well?
mixed these two, and I think they might have it at Costco, but if they don't, can you make it?
Can you make it? Yeah.
So, but yeah, we had a great time in Keo, and I even gave you the option of coming home after that because we were out and about for a while, and you're like, "No, we're going to England."
Yeah,
and,
That is a full switch because normally it's John pulling the boat.
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, we went to
Freaky
England.
Friday here.
Yeah, England's like what 10 minutes down the road.
All these cities are right next to each other.
Bam.
Exactly.
Yeah,
By the way, we left at 10 o'clock on a Saturday, and we're not even done with this day yet, and we get back by 3.
Yeah.
That's how close it is to Little Rock.
Yeah, full day. So much fun, and I am so glad we went to England because we were there solely to go to this restaurant called Real Fish that I am so glad that I got to take you to. I've been once or twice before, and but it had been 2 years, and the thing that separates this place, it's called Real Fish. That's the name of it, and it's kind of tucked back off the main drag a few blocks in England. And Thomas Harper's the owner, and this guy gets up and he fishes each morning. It's fried. It's catfish. It is the freshest catfish. Not farm raised. I have nothing against farm raised catfish, but this is a different experience when you get fresh caught catfish. The texture is different. Fried just right in the setting. It was just down to earth, low key. The music that we had in the background. I mean, I think we had a blast in there.
We walked in, and Al Green is playing, and to the left, there's an aquarium where crawdads are fighting.
Yeah.
So there's a crawdad fight. Ben, have you ever seen a crawdad fight?
I actually randomly have. It was like in this little.
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
there with
okay.
you. Yeah, it's wild. It looks like
They were so mad at
they
each
get
other.
after it.
Yeah. I was enamored by that. And then behind us, the Atlantic 10 basketball tournament was playing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm going to pating this one real quick. Out of nowhere, there's a picture I took of the water tower of Keo and a basketball goal.
Oh, I've got you.
And if Pearl Jam was playing in the background, and a piece of cherry pie, that would have
that.
embodied Kevin and I right there.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
That's it.
That's our life. That's it right there.
Basketball and
Very
water.
artsy. I like it.
I was proud of that.
John is a darn good photographer. I'm just gonna give it up to him. He really is. All kidding aside, I mean that's art right there. That's beautiful.
I appreciate it. Yeah. No, I saw that and I thought that is perfect for us.
Yeah.
That is just who we are.
Yeah.
But
that's
you
great.
you
Good
walk
job.
in and it's Al Green playing, crawdads fighting, basketball, and you're going to have really, really good catfish. And it was so good, by the way. I didn't. This is a professional trick you've taught me. Not a trick. It's just how to be a professional food eater. You don't eat a lot. I couldn't help it. I ate a ton at Charlotte's.
Yeah.
And I walked into the catfish place. I had no problem finishing off catfish.
John went all in. You were not a professional eater that day, and I can't blame you. We do talk about all this when you hit a bunch of places you want to save room, but you also have to recognize greatness.
Yes.
And we went to 2 of some of the best. I've traveled a lot of this state. You're going to be hard pressed to find better fried catfish than that, and you're certainly going to be hard pressed to find better pies. So I agree with what you were doing. fortunately for me, I go to those places. So like, you know, I was so happy just kind of watching you and I knew you were enjoying it. But, you know, I talked about this on the blog before that, how important restaurant settings are to me. You know, like obviously I love good food, but for me to really connect with a restaurant, it has to be about so much more than just the food. And a place like Real Fish, where let's face it, it's nothing fancy. You know,
No.
it's pretty bare bone when you walked in there, and it's all about the food and just connecting with, you know, the people around you and the basketball and the music. You put it all together, fighting crawfish, you know, like you put it all together and you're like, man,
Yeah.
it's hard to find something like this. You just don't stumble upon these
No.
things. And when you do find it, you appreciate it.
I have, there's a place in Mobile, Alabama called the Fish House. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's the same way. It is no frills. Literally a couple, 3 times ago, I go there every time I go to see my mom in Tallahassee. There's a crawdad just randomly crawling on the floor.
Yeah.
He wasn't fighting with anything because that's a lot more fun, by the
He was
way.
out looking for trouble.
Yeah.
And then the last time I went, there was a chicken that was right there in the parking spot. The point is, soft shell crabs, fried shrimp. I mean, just a phenomenal. They catch it right there on the Gulf. Man, I love it. So to your point, like Real Fish, I walked in like that place in Gary, Indiana. We went years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. I instantly thought of those 2 places. Like this is going to be good. And man, that catfish was so good.
Yeah. It's a genuine experience, and it's different. And I love finding these places in my eating adventures. And I found this place. I don't remember how. Maybe Thomas told me to come eat at my place. You're missing out if you don't. I think that's how it happened.
He was right.
But you know, like I love that confidence, and I also love showing you these places that you've never been to. And again, like whether it's Little Rock, North Little Rock, or anywhere in this state, I just love the ability of like word of mouth and how you tell a few people and they tell a few people, and suddenly you're really making an impact on a small business like that. So to get people not only from Little Rock to go there, but around that area, you know, there's a lot, like we were just talking about, there's a lot of towns around
Well,
there.
you know, Charlotte's, the owner made that point about because you asked, or I asked, one of the two, who do you get? Who are your customers? Are they coming from Stuttgart or Little Rock or North Little Rock or wherever? No, they're mainly folks here. And I thought, well, that's great. Number one, that you're running a business off of local clientele. But a lot more people need to know about this. I mean, the governor knows about it.
Yeah.
A lot more people should know about it. A lot more people should know about Real Fish, because that name is perfect, by the way. Real Fish. It is Real Fish. Not that farm raised isn't.
Yeah.
But that's Real Fish. And just the story of knowing he went and caught it that morning, cleaned it, and cooked it for you that day. That is an experience. That's Real Fish.
Yeah, and you know, talking to Mayor White, going back to her, she has a vision for Keogh, and whatever that vision is, it's going to progress, I think, quickly, and it's so close to these other towns. You can make a day out of this like we did, and we didn't even hit some of the places. Like I wanted to take you to the Spradlin Drive-In because I think that's cool. They're not open on Saturdays, so there was something there. And there's that Cajun place that we couldn't eat at. So there's more. You know, we didn't even hit everything. And again, it's quick and it's a fun drive. It's a relaxing drive. You're driving right by the Arkansas River. You see all these beautiful fields. It's really what our state is about, and it's right in our backyard.
Yep.
And I think if we get more and more people talking about it, like, hey, let me go that direction for a day and get a little history with the mounds, and I want to eat, I want to drink. You know, like now we're building something.
Yes.
And, you know, that question we always ask the mayors, what's this place going to be like in 10 years from now? You know, I wasn't expecting too much out of that answer with Keogh, frankly. I thought it'd be kind of the same. She got plans for that place, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we've been skipping around a little bit between Scott and Keogh in England. That's more to the point that they're all right there together. So you just go to each one, and
yeah, you can skip around, and that's what. And if you live there, that's what they do too.
Right.
You
Again,
know?
5 hours, door to door. I left my house at 10. We got back to my house at 3, and we did all this in a matter of 5 hours. It was amazing.
We even went to like a vintage antique place,
right,
and browsed around. I mean, like there are things to do. Again, I would encourage you, if you're listening to this, if you've got a free Saturday, plan it out. Just go there. It's a real low commitment, and I think you'll have fun. And you get on the back roads there too. It's fun to drive. You see all those pecan orchards. They're beautiful. I've taken my daughter who's learning how to drive on those back roads, and that's fun and relaxing. And so, like I said at the top, like this was exciting for me to kind of help put all this together, the itinerary, and I think it lived up to the hype for me. So yeah, I don't know where we're going to be next, but I kind of like this little role reversal we got going on. Maybe I can take the upper hand with the city again.
Yeah, you should replace me.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we're 30 minutes from Little Rock, really less.
Yeah.
You can get pie, fresh caught catfish, talk to a great mayor, learn about all sorts of things. Toltec Mounds, Plum Bayou Mounds now. I mean, there's so much to do out there, just a little bit east of Little Rock. And I welcome you to go. I hope that you go, and I hope that you keep going, because in 10 years, I really believe, like you, there's going to be something even more that's there. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon. Take care.